Hello everybody, this is Mark from Mabo Science and welcome back. In today's tutorial we're gonna see the installation process of Kali Linux Lite himself. So what will we address today? As you can see, it's a significant list of items, but actually they are quite simple and fast. The total installation time from Kali Linux Lite himself, it's around 10 to 15 minutes, depending a bit on your hardware, but you will see it's that easy. So what we're gonna start with is starting up the installation wizard for Kali Linux Lite, setting the default installation language, setting the default location and keyboard layout, do some network configuration, setting the root password, configuring the clock, setting the Kali Linux disk partitioning, configuring the network mirror, setting up the network proxy, the install of the bootloader, and last but not least, finalizing the actual installation. Now, let's start with the actual installation of Kali Linux Lite process. So, let's crack on. So, after starting up our VM workstation player, we will select now our VM machine that we actually created in the beginning, and we will click on play. Now, when we click on play, it will start up the actual machine and will, as you can hear, give a loud beep and present you the installation wizard. Now, to go in, you have to click with your mouse into the screen, otherwise it will not work. So once you did that, we will go to install. You're gonna see there is also graphic install. This installer is exactly the same as the standard install, which is a text installer, but is a bit more heavier and it will slow down the overall installation process a bit. So from my personal perspective, I prefer to go with the graphical installer. So to start it up, I select install and hit enter. What it will do now is actually start up a micro Linux and start loading up a certain packages, allowing us to start with the actual installation. Here everything is done. It will ask you for the actual installation language. I keep it in English. Now here it will ask you for your actual location. In this case we are located in Belgium. Unfortunately it's not on the main list, so we have to select other, select Europe, and then select Belgium. Okay, now what it's gonna do, it's actually asking you your location settings. Be aware, the location settings here is at the same time also your key layout. So in our case, for the people that have a Belgium AZERTY keyboard, keep United States, otherwise you will have a bit of an issue later on when selecting your country, as well typing your the passwords, configuration, and so on. So for the people from Belgium with an AZERTY keyboard specifically for Belgium, please keep the United States setting. For those who are not from Belgium, who have another type of keyboard, please select your equivalent. We're gonna hit enter. The key map himself for us, for those who are from Belgium, we will select Belgian. For those who are from other countries, feel free, of course, to select your appropriate keyboard. It will do some detection, and you're gonna see this takes about 30 seconds, not more, when we get to the next phase of the installation. And be aware, we will speed up certain items during this movie as well when required. Okay, now it will ask us for a host name. This by default he proposes Kali. I'm gonna make it Kali. Let's say we're gonna make it Kali Training 001. Hit the tab to go to continue and then hit enter. Domain name, as I don't have a domain name, so I will leave that blank. Just hit the tab, go to continue and hit enter. Okay, root password. Now here for the root password, please, for the beginning, use a very simple one. Nothing with special characters or whatever. Is that during the installation, and especially in post-installation, you need to type your password quite often, and to avoid that you have to type a very lengthy password, or in certain cases if you by accident selected your key map or your country, of course it can be that you will not be able anymore to log into the system, and then it's really required to, how should I say, try to recover your password by first trying out what it was, but it's really shitty. So that's why my advice is take a very simple one. For me, for example, what I do, root, I do the other way around, tour, TOOR. So I know that from a key map perspective, as well from a key layout perspective, I am safe because these are even in QWERTY easily to retrieve. Now the actual partitioning started up. In this case I will select here the entire disk. You see also set up LVM and encrypted LVM. For those who want to encrypt their disk, you can use encrypt LVM, but in this tutorial we will not discuss the encryption of Kali Linux from a disk perspective. So we just gonna select guide use entire disk. Yes, this is the disk that we want. And here it asks you for the partition schema. Now for this very little partition, we use all files in one partition. Now if you're gonna create a Kali Linux or any other Linux system which is way bigger, and here I'm talking about 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 gigabyte, at that moment of time, yes, you will create other partition schemas, and generally in practice, what we do, for example, in our organization, we actually do the separation in 3 different partitions, and sometimes even in 4, is actually separating home, the var, and the temp, so that we can modify those whenever that's required when they are getting full. So from our perspective, for now, we're gonna do all files in one partition. Okay, we finished the partition, write changes to disk, hit enter. Of course we want to change, we hit the tab to go to yes, hit enter. The formatting is done, as well the partitioning, and now it will do the actual installation of the system. And as I said before, this is quite rapidly, perhaps 10 minutes if that's it. So just for you guys, we will speed up now the system a bit so you don't have to wait for 10 minutes. We're almost there. Yes, we are. Do we want to now set up a network mirror? In our case, because we don't have that, so we will use tab, select no, and hit enter. So let's see what it brings up for us now. Okay, now we're gonna install the bootloader. You're gonna see this is also quite quickly done. So what we actually gonna do here is just ensuring that during the boot of the system we can actually start up our system. It will ask you, do we want to put the GRUB bootloader into the master record? Of course, we hit enter, and here we will select dev SDA. This can change a bit from system to system, so if you don't see this but /dev /sdbc whatever, it's okay. I mean, in a virtual machine sometimes it can be that it's not exactly the same, so not a worries. Just select this, hit enter, and it will install the bootloader, which takes exactly, I would say, 10 to 20 seconds, so it's very fast. We are finalizing the installation, which will install some other modules, and especially what it will do as well, it will do also a cleanup. So actually everything that's been done, it will also undo all the stuff it doesn't require anymore, so that the amount of space that's been used by the installer himself is actually minimalized, and that only those things that are required, and in other words, what we did install, which is the base operating system, will be left behind. This should take another 2 to 3 seconds, because normally this is quite fast. But don't be surprised if it takes, for example, a minute or so. Okay, everything is done. System is rebooting. And here we go. Done and dusted. We are ready. Let's hit the little enter. It starts booting up everything. Here we go. And off we go. Ready. Let's try root. Root tour. Hit enter. And what it will ask you now is actually if we want to have a start panel by default. I do recommend for the beginners to use the default config. It makes your life easy because it brings you straight away here a little taskbar, which is always handy from day one. These parts, we can change that if we want, and that's something we will demonstrate in our post installation process, as well on how, for example, when we want to maximize this screen, becomes actual a large screen and not staying as small as this is. Because if I would select here large screen, actually the screen himself stays very small. So the best way is that you watch the post installation task tutorial, where I will explain you everything on how to deal with these type of, let's say, challenges. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you later. If you liked it, give me the thumbs up. If not, give me the thumbs down. And for those who would like to know when my next tutorial is, please feel free to subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.